All right, so we'll do another morning crowd episode. Usually, what's it called? This one's going to be a little bit similar to yesterday, but we actually have some more like actual, not rumored takes now, and we can talk about things a little bit more in depth. So right here, this is obviously the first thing we'll talk about. Paris 100% has picked up Jimbo. This is Jimbo. And what's it called? So we already talked about this yesterday, and obviously there's probably some people that haven't seen yesterday's episode, or even on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube. But what's it called? This kid's really, really good. He's like really an aggressive player. He's gonna put up a lot of kills. Like that's like his expectation. So we kind of talked about their roster before, and I gave you my take on it. And I personally think this is a good pickup. Again, I think they needed an AR so they can let Donnie play the flex role, or Temp to play the flex role, because I think Temp in the flex role is like where he's most comfortable. And I think that's also where he's best, where he can use an AR when he wants to, and when he can use a sub when he wants to. Like basically the flex role is like the do-it-all role. And the do-it-all role, you get to use your favorite weapon on like your favorite map kind of thing for the most part, and like just get kills. So I think having Temp, which is like their superstar player in that role, is going to help them out a lot. And then I think having Gravity, when they picked up Gravity as the AR, is really good. I think he's always going to be doing really, really good too. So I think now moving on to this though, like this Jimbo role, they dropped him for FeLo. I think this is a good move. It sucks for FeLo, and it was obviously between FeLo or John. Obviously, I don't know exactly why they picked who and who, because they were both kind of struggling, but I think John is a safer bet in their minds, obviously, for that. And John's also a really, really good teammate, so they're obviously seeing a lot more potential in John, probably, if I could take a guess. I'm not too sure, but I like John a lot. I've teamed with him. He's a really good teammate, so I can see that for sure. But regardless, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, because Jimbo is the one replacing, and Jimbo was on our academy team in MW for a little bit, and I didn't talk to him too much. I was busy with like the main team and everything, but they won a lot. And when the few times I got to watch them play, and they scrimmed against us a few times, you know what I mean? I've seen this kid play a good amount. He's definitely a really good aggressive player. He's going to get a lot of kills. He's going to be in your face. Like this is like kind of what this team needs for this game. I'm pretty sure they've been playing decent in scrims. I haven't talked to Gravity, but I want to say, like, I heard it through someone. That can be total bullshit. But so this team is definitely going to look way better. And with this team looking way better, if you're a Paris fan, this is really good for you. This is like where they're making the right moves right now. And I think I said this in probably one of the earlier episodes, and just in general this year, I think teams are finally realizing how to make rosters. One sec. Like when the CDL started, you saw a lot of rosters that just made absolutely like no sense. And now you're starting to see like people with the proper roles and people getting chances, you know what I mean? Like that like really deserve to be in the league or have a chance in the league to like prove themselves, and they're actually running the correct role, where you're not just getting like these weird teams that make no sense and then they end up failing, right? So I like this move. I kind of like this move yesterday when we talked about it, but now this is 100% official. Jimbo is going to be taking the spot on Paris Legion. So do they play today? Does Paris play today? Let's see. Yeah, Paris doesn't. So Paris plays tomorrow. They play LAG. Okay, right? I'm not missing. Yeah, Paris plays LAG. So Paris we won't get to see him play, today, and obviously we won't talk about him until like the next day. But I'm excited for this. I think he's good. What do you guys think? What's it called? What do you guys think right now? Do you guys have any takes on this? Any crazy takes? Or are you guys all like kind of in agreement of what I was saying? I just like the fact that I think a lot of teams right now are like learning how to make roster moves like the correct way, because the way I view it, this is not always the case, because like there are veterans that still really want to win, and there also are veterans that are really, really good. Like the whole like if you're a veteran you're not that talented thing is also just not true. You know what I mean? But a lot of the times, like a player that's coming from challengers is going to be very, like most of the time, and I think this is just like naturally, they want to get the big CDL contract, they want to make the money, they want to prove themselves, they want want to win, that want to prove yourself, that that initial fire is very, very hard to replicate. There are some veterans that are good at doing it, and that's why some of them are around still. But in general, like I'm a big believer that like that fire that you get when you want to, yeah, like that hunger, that fire is really, really hard to do. Like when it's not like just natural. So you know, when you're coming from challengers, you want this shit, bro. You want to show up. You want to fucking learn. You want to listen to your coach most of the time. And like, that's going to take you so much farther in a league like this, in my opinion, because I definitely think, you know, this league is super competitive, as we were kind of just talking about. So I think it's pretty dope. Decent move for them, but still feel bad for FeLo. I feel bad for FeLo too, because I think FeLo is good. That's kind of how this league goes. Like their team probably wasn't in the best position in general, like with scrims and stuff when they were losing. So I'm sure they weren't getting the best practice. But you know, I don't know, they needed it. They should drop temp for real. You think they should drop temp? I feel like temp would be the last person they drop right now. I don't know. I think you're tripping for that, dude. I feel like temp is the one, probably the last person to go on this team. Like, I don't know. I feel like he's the one that's also been playing the best. And I know, like, you know, playing the best isn't always the case, but I feel like in this situation, there's no other argument to it. I don't know. I feel like you're chill. I feel like you're tripping for that. Yeah, I like this. I like this one. Temp's playing for kills and only keeping his stats good for a spot. I don't know. I don't know about all that, bro. Yeah, you guys. Listen, bro. There's levels to Call of Duty where eventually playing for kills obviously will lose you games, and you have to be playing for kills in the smart way, and then, like, you know, teamwork, and I can go on and on and on and on and on about that. But when you're a team struggling like Paris, when no one is getting kills, you gotta get them. You can't win without getting kills, but then you can't actually win tournaments without getting kills in the proper spots of the map, etc., etc. So there's I don't think Paris was at that championship level with their old roster where, like, they had to worry about that. I think someone had to start getting kills or they're gonna lose, just never win. So even if that was your argument and you were correct, I still don't think that's right as of now. I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty sure temp usually has the most damage and shit too. So yeah, I think you're tripping for that. I think temp is far away from what you guys just said. That's number one. Number two is, what's it called? Number two is that we're going to do the NYSL. NYSL is a little bit more interesting to talk about since we haven't really talked about it as much. Do we know if NYSL is subbing in, like, Neptune, like, without their cryptic tweet? Because right now, NYSL tweeted this. Right now, NYSL, not this, but hello, Hydra. But NYSL tweeted this, which I'm assuming means Neptune's playing today. Does anyone fucking know what's going on? Is Neptune playing, and whose spot is he taking, dude? You know, like, what the fuck is going on? Before we go into this, though, I have one last thing. Two questions. Off-topic question: with the amount of talent without a CDL spot in the CDL 10 Havoc example, how many teams do you think could be added in a league expansion with competitive rosters? I think 16 would be the sweet spot, Fluzz. I think there would be a couple more teams that are competitive. Obviously, with 16 teams, there's probably going to be like 2 teams that are really pretty fucking bad. It is what it is. But you never know. I could be wrong with saying that. So I think 16 teams would be perfect for, like, just everything in the league eventually, if we can get there. If we can have a 16 team league, that would be perfect in my opinion. I think that they're going to go to their original roster, right? They have to go to their original roster. Like, this is what we're going to do, right? Their original roster, they're going to get rid of Royalty for a little bit. They obviously weren't playing good with him. They thought they made a mistake, and they're going to be their original roster. What do you think of this? I'm actually curious of what you guys think of this. I think NYSL shouldn't have let Matt go. I don't think they should have let ASIM or Matt go, in my opinion. Personally, I thought their team was really good last year. I think them just, like, letting that roster go was kind of a mistake. But what's the update on Crim? I'm pretty sure Crim tweeted that he's all good. Like, I think the surgery went well. He didn't even have to go under or anything. I'm pretty sure he's feeling better, right? Or am I tripping for saying that? He said, surgery done. Luckily, didn't have to go under, but let me tell you something. The sound of a scalpel sawing back and forth on your eardrum sent shivers down my spine. Yeah, that's got to be fucking freaky. About to smoke Jordan Generals, attack dogs, and lay down the beatdown via baguettes today on Paris Legion. So, yeah, he's good. I'm pretty sure Crim is ready to go. Yeah, so what do you think of this roster? Like, clearly this roster wasn't working out in the beginning, right? And then, what's it called? Clearly this roster wasn't working out in the beginning. And now all of a sudden, they're going back to it. Mason, I'll hop on Warzone after this, I think. I'm going to hop on Warzone for a little bit after this. So I just feel like benching someone, then picking them back up, and then, you know, trying to make it work again just doesn't really, I don't know. You know? Does that make any sense? Like, I feel like it's weird, but I could be wrong. Maybe, you know, Neptune doesn't really care that they benched him. Maybe they were like, oh, fuck, we made a mistake, and, like, they, you know, they got it. Or maybe this is just a temporary thing for a match or two until they figure out their next roster move. So, who knows? We'll see. So, I'm not sure. I am not sure. And yeah, it might light a fire, like, for Neptune to, like, prove his spot even more. But regardless, I am curious to see, because if I remember correctly, we have a New York Subliners match today. Now, this is like a big thing, because they're playing the London Royal Ravens, and we'll get to the match prediction soon. But I don't know. Like, if New York has to win this match, right? And like, London's not even using their fourth. Don't get me wrong. Paul X replacing Gizmo. Gizmo is incredible, and Gizmo is really good, so it's not going to be like their, you know, your London team that you're expecting. But Paul X is not a bad fill-in. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're NYSL, though, you got to try and you got to try and win this match. Like, you know what I mean? They're kind of throwing this to you in a sense where it's like it's not their full team. Paul X is still incredible, so it's not going to be an easy win by no means. But, like, NYSL needs something, dude. So this is going to be tough. So we'll talk about match predictions soon, but I don't know. We'll see. I think personally, though, my take on this roster, but like after all, you know, talking about it and you guys answering questions and stuff in chat, I think Neptune needs to be on this roster. I think Neptune needs to be on this roster. I think he needs to be playing for this team, and if there's something where his play style isn't, like, you know, fully there, or like he's making mistakes, I think you need to work with him and try and make him fix those mistakes. I think Neptune is too talented of a player in a league like this with this specific roster as well. He needs to absolutely get this, you know what I'm saying, like, get his spot and stay there, and like they need to make sure they have the guys that are slaying enough, because right now NYSL's issue is hardpoint, right? And most of the time, if like they're not slaying enough in hardpoint and one of them is getting smoked constantly and they're just not getting kills, like, you're not going to win hardpoint without kills. Like, that's step one. Then step two is how you're going to use those kills properly to obviously win and stuff. So, like, I don't think you can afford to get rid of Hydra or Neptune right now. You know what I mean? So I think these two need to stay, and then they need to figure it out from there. They could still make this roster work. I do believe that, but they're going to have to, you know, time is kind of ticking. So we'll see what goes on from there. So I'm excited to see this team play again and kind of go, I don't know. There's really not much else to say. Do you really see improvement from the first time the squad played with Nep? I personally don't, just because a lot of the times, like, when the team morale is kind of just broken down, it's kind of tough to, like, bring it back. It has happened before. Their head coaching change is low-key the bigger move. I think I disagree fully with that. And the reason why is because I'm pretty sure that head coaching change isn't that crazy, because that would have been like RJ being the head coach and then me being still there every day. Right? Wasn't their head coach already working for them, or am I tripping for saying that? Am I thinking of somebody else? Where's this tweet? I want to try and find a tweet. So this happened. So I'm pretty sure he was already on their staff. He was on the team before, so like, I don't know. So again, like, the way I view it, and the reason why I'm not saying he's not important, because he can, like, I've actually heard really good things about him, but what I'm saying is like, I don't know if that's gonna, like, completely change, just because if he was already a part of the staff, the way I view this is D-Real, like, for example, say RJ and I, right, you know, like, say like we were struggling, and then RJ becomes the head coach and I'm still on the staff, but like, obviously now RJ is like my boss in a sense. It's not like beforehand RJ wasn't working with the team. Does that make sense? It's like changing some responsibilities, and now D-Real has more, you know, more on his plate, but like, he was still there probably helping this team and then some, you know. So I don't know how much of a difference that would make in the sense of like their camp. I think he is probably really, if he's got this job, he's got to be incredible at what he does. So I'm sure he's really, really good at what he does. But I don't know if it's going to make, like, you know, some crazy difference because he's already a part of the team. I don't know. But at the same time, I can be completely wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly what he was doing before the head coach thing. I don't know how their camp worked beforehand. So maybe it is a way bigger change where he wasn't really working with the main roster and now he is. And then that could be an actual big change. But the way I viewed it, like, is like, yeah, if like RJ were to become the head coach of our roster and like I would step down, but still like be there, like, you know, RJ was still there helping me out on a daily basis or like, you know, every other day kind of thing. So yeah, it's like that would be like the only difference. But I do think this is really cool and I'm actually happy for him, you know, that I'm sure they're trying to figure some stuff out there. But I do think that the biggest change for them will be more on their roster right now. And I think D-Real has a lot on his plate to like make them come together and have a positive work environment and be really good at that. And from what I know, he's really good at that. So that's a good thing though. That's a good, like, you know, that's a good, like, you know, floor plan to have there with him. So I'm stoked to see it. You can go on the Reddit real quick, I guess. Top 5 players of the stage. What do you guys think of this? Dashy, Celium, Shotzi, Simp, and Scump. What do you guys think of this? Thoughts on people saying Crim, Clay duo won't work on 4v4? I think it's dumb. Has worked before. So I'm not a big fan of the has worked before argument because, again, that's like saying I've won a world championship. It doesn't fucking matter. Like, maybe it worked in a different game. Maybe it worked in another game. That is not a good argument because the competition last year and the year before that and the year before that was completely different and the teams were completely different and the game was completely different. So personally, I think that's not a good enough argument for it. Do I think they can make it work? Yes. But with that being said, like, they just need to start playing better in hardpoint and making it work together as a team. Like, I think if they can make it work, but like what your argument to it is it doesn't hold much to me, in my opinion, because talking about the past doesn't matter for the present. All right, so what do you guys think of this? I'm curious. I'd take Cell over Dash, but the other ones, I'm cool with it. I mean, this is just the top 2 teams, a bunch of players from the top 2 teams, obviously, who fried. You want to hear something crazy? I don't care about, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Like, you know, I like, whatever. The way I view top players, like, I don't know if you guys agree with this, and, you know, some people don't. The way I view top players is, for example, there is a group or a tier of players, for example, these guys right here. There's a tier of players, and on that weekend, anyone could be in the top 5, right? And like, for example, you're missing Illy, you're missing other people. Like, you know, there's a tier of those like those S tier players, and whoever performs better on the weekend is going to be top 5. You know, that's just how it is. So like, I get like the top 5 players of stage 1. These stuff doesn't really ever interest me because, you know, I've watched like some of the best players in the world have a bad day, and then the next day they're the best player in the world again. So it's like, I think there's just a tier of S tier players that, like, you know, whoever's playing good on that day and whoever's executing the plan, like we were talking about, like, you know, during those moments is obviously important. So I think it's this, like, you know, just more content purposes. So like, this is fun to talk about. But I will say one thing. I think, listen, bro, I think Afro is not getting his credit, dude. I think Afro is not getting his credit. Zero played really good too, and Zero did play good, and he obviously was the AR, and he was the fucking backbone of that team. And I'm pretty sure Zero. Let me go look. I can actually go tell you. Let's go see Zero stats real quick. I want to say Zero's stats were insane for the stage 1, right? So yeah, dude, Zero had a 1.11 in hardpoint. He had a 0.9 in S&D, and he had a 1.23 in control. So Zero, in the sense of like what he was doing, he is the backbone of this team. He's the main AR. You know, he is doing what he needed to do. So that is impressive as shit, right? That is impressive as shit. Plain and simple. Like, Zero's a beast. So I understand why Zero, obviously you guys are saying Zero. But dude, I think what Afro was doing with the sub, like, bro, Afro is that entry guy. You know, you guys know my views on entry subs and stuff. Afro's like an entry sub. He's gonna run at you. He's gonna run and take those hard gunfights. And he dropped a 0.99 in hardpoint, doing it a 1.0 in S&D. His control wasn't the best, but like, still, his job for this team is really, really hard, because if you know what he's got to do, And I personally think him doing what he was doing, I think Afro like needs some goddamn credit, bro. He's a beast. I think he's a beast. So I obviously think, you know, they're both really good, but I think Afro is playing really good, personally. If Gizmo played the Gizmo's level, yeah, Gizmo's going through a lot, and Gizmo is better than what he obviously played at the event. So I exactly. What's it called? I mean, I agree with you. So London's in a really good spot. London's a fucking beast of a team. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this team keep playing this year, and you know how good they are and all that stuff. But yeah, I think Afro is a beast. I don't know. I think Afro is really underrated, dude. Like, I think he gets credit, but I don't think he gets enough. I don't know right now, you know, in the sense, since they didn't get top 2, if he's top 5, like in the sense, like, but in general, like, you know, we're talking about this, but I definitely think he's up there. I definitely think he's up there. So I would love the London land. I would too, dude. That crowd would be nuts. So yeah, I think there's just like S tier players, and whoever plays like on the day is usually gonna do that. But still, yeah, Zero's a beast too. Though Zero played really, really good. And then Zuma talks about feeling disrespected when he first joined NYSL. Oh. Broken spot on Tuscan. 1 year to go. Okay. All right. So I think we talked about almost everything. London gonna keep Crowder on his toes. Every team this year, dude, is so good. Like, that's the best part about this year, is there's so much competition. That's amazing, dude. That's like the best part about this year, dude. Okay, Scump first COD. Wait, what? Scump first in COD history to get 30 event wins in 10 different titles. That's dope, dude. That's really dope. Good for him. That's a fucking cool ass accomplishment. And good for Seth, dude. I didn't realize that was number 30 too. That's a big fucking W for him. That's fucking sick. All right. I think we got 10 different titles, bro. He's been playing from Scump's been playing since what? MW2? Like, dude, Scump's been around. Scump's been around. I mean, you guys, where's Scump? Where's that tweet? Did I pass it already? I passed it. You guys always know what I say about him. Like, man, I've said this before this podcast has been doing better on YouTube. So I'm going to say it again now that the podcast does better on YouTube and has more eyes on it. But like there was a lot, there's always been like, you know, the hate on Scump of like people saying stupid shit as they always do. And like, I think it was last year too. A lot of people were giving him shit. Everyone gives him shit. When you're the biggest brand in Call of Duty, when you're not winning every single tournament, you're getting shit. Just because that's how the community works. And when you do win, you're getting all the love, right? But what I've always said about him, which I think this is the most underrated thing about him and a couple other players in the league, Scump is still here. Scump is still here playing like events after 10 different titles. Like, he's been around. Like, a lot of people retire, in my opinion, because not always. This doesn't go for everybody. So, you know, take this with a grain of salt. But most people retire because the competition gets better. So, like, for example, you can use myself. I was obviously a pro player. I was pretty good. I had a decent career. I got a bunch of top 6s, a bunch of top 4s, a bunch of top 3s, a shit ton of seconds, and then obviously a couple firsts. With that being said, I ended up retiring because as I got older, I didn't really get worse, in my opinion. There is just better players in the league that the competition I was playing against, you know, became better and better. And then eventually I kind of, like, you know, in a sense, just got harder. Like, I wasn't playing against Simp and Abizi when I was playing Black Ops 2. You know what I mean? Like, like, everyone got better. Coaches, salaries, you know, VODs actually getting watched. Like, people got better over and over. So, like, my point to this is a lot of people end up retiring because, like, the competition just flat out gets better and they can't keep up. You know, take that with a grain of salt. That doesn't go for everyone, blah, blah, blah. But, like, Scump is still here in 2022, you know, and every time you talk about sub duos, like, Scump is there, you know, like, even last year, like, you know, obviously Optic didn't win anything last year, but he was still up there in the sub duo. You know, you always talked about Envoy and Scump, you know, the same thing. You talked about Simp and Abizi, you had Envoy and Scump, you had the Dallas guy, like, you like Shotzi, and it was Shotzi and Hook, and then Shotzi and Vivid. Like you always had your duos, and he's always there. And my point is, it's just like, it's impressive that like he's still a top submachine gun player because of what's it called? You know what I'm saying? Because of like how long he's been playing. Like, it shows you how like good he really is. You know what I mean? I don't think there's many people that can do that. Obviously, there's still a few people left in the league that have been competing for a while. And my point to Scump is also just as valid for those guys too. But like, Ben would say he projected well. It's just, it's impressive because a lot of people, as the competition got better, you could see like, you know, people just can't keep up. He was able to do that. So it's fucking dope that Scump's still doing his thing, in my opinion. The amount of hate he gets could just be the person also. I mean, you get to a person also. Oh yeah. I mean, dude, when you're the biggest brand in Call of Duty, like one of the biggest brands in esports too, like, you know, you're going to get a lot of hate. That just comes with it. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see players still do that, dude. Anything else? Didn't you stop and come back in Black Ops 3? I retired in Black Ops 3. I came back in Infinite Warfare, and then I played World War 2. I got another championship, bro. We took another dub, and then I retired after we didn't qualify and shit. But that was fun. I came back, dude, and I had a little spark for competing, but the spark for like the competing really dwindled out really fast, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of like being a pro player. I wasn't like. I think if I went back now, it would help me out a lot in the sense like the mindset that I've had now. But I don't know. Like I like doing what I'm doing now, in my opinion, way more than I was like as a pro. But all right. With that being said, let's do some match predictions. Yeah. New York Subliners versus the London Royal Ravens. What do we think here, chat? What do we think? We got no NYSLs, or we got one NYSL. 3-0 smoke show. Remember, London is not playing with Gizmo right now. You guys still think that they're smoking him with Paul X. It's weird though. You know, I say that London's not playing with Paul X, but it's like NYSL obviously doesn't have that much chemistry with Neptune either. So, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, NYSL doesn't have much, what's it called? Anything too. So it's just like, I feel like technically the Ravens have the advantage still in this, you know? Betting my life savings on whatever you say. Oh man, don't do that, bro. My match predictions haven't been correct this year. Actually, some of them, I had a couple good days and I had one really bad day. But all right. So if you go look at the stats real quick, I know they're different teams and stuff, but like, if you have like long, like the Jesus, London Royal Ravens, their hard point is really good. And then if you go to New York, dude, New York's not really good at hard point. So you're assuming if New York's 0-3 in Berlin, right? Like, even though I'm just going to go off like, you know, maybe their things don't change, but you got to get rid of Berlin hardpoint for New York. And then like, if you're New York, they're probably going to, London probably gets rid of bow cage, right? I'm assuming that New York gets rid of Berlin, London gets rid of bow cage, and you play Gavutu and Tuscan. Is there a sign of life on Gavutu and Tuscan for either, like for this team? 0-5 on Tuscan and 1-2 on Gavutu. This is tough because London's still a really good Gavutu team. So you would think like in order for NY to win this match, you need to steal a hard point. So I wonder if they've gotten any better. I wonder if they've gotten any better at hard point since their new roster. If their scrims have looked any better, because their hard points are still going to need like work. They're going to need to steal it. If there's a time to steal a hard point right now versus London, it would be with the fill-in. So, I don't know. You think NYSL takes the S&D? Yeah, they're not bad at S&D. Obviously, they're not stellar at it either, but they're not bad at S&D. And then their controls, dude. The Tuscan control, NYSL is 2-0 on Tuscan control. There's a sign of life. It goes by coin flip. If NYSL gets Team A and they get to choose their control, like, they can potentially make the series a long one, but, yeah, they haven't won a hard point since the Kickoff Classic, right? Yeah, look, dude. Wait. 0-1. 0-9, dude. 0-9. 0-1 and 0-9. Which one did they lose? They lost Gavutu. So they're 0-2, so they're 0-10. They're 0-10. So it's like, yeah, dude, they gotta figure something out. You would think they get rid of Berlin, they get rid of Bocage, you play Gavutu Tuscan, and you go for it, but we'll see. Searches, they're looking all right, and then the Tuscan, they're 2-0 in Tuscan. I don't know. We'll see. I personally think that if we're going back to the match predictions, I'm thinking that either way, I still think London has the advantage in this match, and I think that they're going to be in a, you know, a good spot to win this. The reason why I'm not putting too much stock in their new roster or their like new but like old roster. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be like, you know, the chemistry. It's not a honeymoon phase. There you go. My mind is scattered. It's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's not going to be like a honeymoon phase for New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be like, oh, we got a brand new roster. We're fucking motivated. This is like, oh, we're trying this again kind of thing. So, we'll see. So yeah, I think London takes this match. But we'll see. That's going to be an interesting one for sure. That starts at 12 today. Okay. All right. The next match, Seattle Surge and Boston Breach. Yeah, unless they trick the honeymoon gods. It's true. What's it called? Seattle Surge versus Boston Breach. What are we thinking, dude? This is a good one. Because Boston is a tough team to beat because they're good at Surge and they can take the distance on you. And Seattle's been struggling. Surge is fucking weird. You know, what do we think's going on with Surge here, right? Like, what? So we got a lot of Bostons and we got a lot of Surges in here. This is a weird match because realistically, if you asked us this like a week or two ago, I feel like people would probably be saying Surge just because like they were giving Surge the benefit of the doubt that Surge was playing well in the beginning of the year. And now after this major, I don't know, right? Like now, like, you know, it looks like they're struggling and we don't know exactly what's going on with them as much. And then you have Boston, who looked pretty good, right? Boston, you know, Boston didn't look bad at the event. They lost to us. And then who else did they lose to? Who'd they lose to get eliminated? Was it Toronto? They lost to Toronto, right? Yeah, they lost a 2-3 to Toronto. And, you know, like, that's not terrible. Like, Toronto's a good-ass team, and Toronto's really good at S&D, so it's like losing a 2-3 to them is tough. So, Surge is overrated, and until they prove any sort of consistency or that Sid or Preg can be there with the 1.1 KD Slayers they need, they're going to lose a bunch of games. So, yeah. I don't know. I think, let's see. Let's just look at the vetoes really quick and just see like what you think. I personally think right now, so Boston's 4-1 on Berlin, 2-6 on Bocage, 2-1 in Gavutu, and 2-1 in Tuscan, right? Then you go on the side of Surge's thing. I feel like Surge plays a lot of Gavutu, if I'm correct. So they're 0-3 on Gavutu, but I feel like it gets in a lot of their series. They're 0-3 on Berlin, they're 3-3 on Bocage, and they're 5-1 in Tuscan. So I feel like what a lot of teams have been doing against the Surge team is vetoing Tuscan and then forcing them on Bocage and Gavutu, or forcing them on Bocage and Berlin, right? So you would think Boston's probably going to do the same thing, just looking at like their map vetoes. Even though they are 2-6 on Bocage, I'm pretty sure 2 of those losses on Boston to Bocage were to us, which is FaZe. And then I think they lost one of them. Was it to Optic? I forget who. But regardless, it doesn't matter. The Major 1 tournament, they're 0-3 on Bocage. So it's like, I still think with this team, you're giving Seattle the advantage if you play Bocage, but you can't play them on Tuscan either. They're 5-1 on Tuscan, right? So it's like, Seattle has the advantage or the upper hand on Bocage, but Boston is very comfortable on playing that map too. They're just not winning it as much, but I think they're playing it against very good teams. So this is going to be tough, but this would be, I would say, Seattle's favor if they play Bocage. And then you get rid of Tuscan, say Seattle gets rid of Berlin because they're 4-1. It's going to be Gavutu and Bocage. Those are probably going to be the hard points, right? So depending on who's Team A, if Seattle gets Team A, they might start off 1-0 in the series. If they don't, we're going to see how their Gavutu looks. Well, this is going to be a tough one because, again, Boston doesn't look too bad at hardpoint. Not too sure. We'll see. So I think they split the hardpoints 1-1. I think both teams take their maps. Unless Boston, you know, tees up on Bocage and does what they're doing, I think we're going to see a Bocage and Gavutu series. I don't think there's a world where Seattle doesn't get rid of Berlin. Unless they've changed their maps up, you know, maybe their practice has been different. I'm not too sure, you know. So Team A is going to be really important in the series, and the way you get Team A, by the way, if you guys don't know this, Team A is decided by a coin flip. So, you know, Team A is important too. So who knows who's going to get it? So Team A is really important in this series, in my opinion. And then going on to the S&Ds, Like, Boston Breach is a good S&D team. They don't have the best record, but they're a good S&D team, and they're hard to beat on it. You see these records right here where it's, you know, 3-4, 3-2, 1-1, and 1-0. You go to Seattle here. They're 4-4 in Berlin. So both teams are comfortable in Berlin. You're probably going to see a Berlin in there. S&D wise, they're 2-0 on Bocage. They're 0-1 in Siege, and they're 2-1 on Tuscan. Like, if you're Boston, dude, I feel like yeah, it's literally a coin flip in qualifiers. Well, that's the qualifiers though. At the Major 1 tournament, it goes by seeding. Like we had Team A every series we played, except for the finals because we lost. Obviously, we came from losers, but yeah, it goes by seeding at the majors. But for qualifiers, it's a coin flip. Yeah, exactly. Anytime Boston loses search, it's never like a smoke show. You're correct. So like I think you know, you see Berlin in here. I personally don't think Seattle plays. I don't think Boston's gonna play him in Bocage. I think they're gonna play Tuscan or Desert. I think the searches are gonna be in Boston's favor, just the way they are. I think some of the searches that Seattle won also relied on what was there 2 round 11s where Lamar had to clutch up for them. Is that true? Is it 2 of them or 1 of them? I'm pretty sure like 2 of the search wins that go to Seattle, I think they were both Berlins, solely relied on Lamar clutching around 11 too, right? So it's like, yeah, I think the searches are in Boston's favor. This is the big turning point in this match right here. This is the big turning point in this match for me. Boston Breach is 2-8 in control. 2-8 in control. They were 1-3 in the major. They were 1-4 like during the whole thing. They're 2-8 in control, dude. Like, they need to figure it out. Like, you know, in their controls. And if it's Team A, I'm assuming Seattle's going to pick Gavutu control. They're 1-6 on Gavutu control. Like, 1-6 in Gavutu control. And Seattle's 3-2. And then 3-3 in Tuscan. And they're 1-4 in Tuscan. Like, this is what's going to be the key to Surge. Where if the Surge could take a hard point in a control here, if they take the Bocage and they win a control, the Surge can win this series. So, the biggest thing for me in this is going to be the control, which is going to be the momentum swing. Like, if Boston takes, you know, the Bocage, then maybe here we are. You know, I could be wrong, but this control is going to be huge. And I think we're going to see if Team A gets in, I think we 100% see Gavutu for Seattle. If Boston is Team A, then I think we're going to see a Tuscan. So, again, Team A is really important in this series because of the control difference. If Seattle gets Team A, they get to play Bocage map 1 most likely, and they probably get Gavutu in, right? So you would think, like, statistically speaking, that's 2 maps that are in their favor. Of course, anything can happen in the match. And then that's where, like, if you're Boston, like, you're like, oh, shit. But if Boston gets Team A, it's a completely different series. So, I don't know. I think Boston's obviously looking better. I think Boston is the team that is, you know, with the momentum. They're looking better. They're getting better. They had a better major. Obviously, Seattle's, like, super struggling. And a lot of their map wins are obviously from past matches. So, I think Team A is going to be there. I do definitely think Boston is favored in this. I think I'm leaning towards Boston to win this. This is also really interesting to see if Seattle has bounced back at all, right? Is Team A/B a coin flip? Yes, literally. Major qualifiers, it's a coin flip. So yeah, I think Boston's definitely the team that should take this, especially if they've gotten any better in control. This is a really big test for Seattle to see if they've actually come back. So yeah, like we'll see if Surge is regained. Exactly. So this is a test for Seattle. I do think I'm gonna give my my COD mind is saying Boston, so I'm going Boston. Agreed. Boston's a top 5 team. Thoughts? Well, what were the top 4 at the event? I think they're top. I would say that top 6. I don't think so. It's us, Optic, London, Toronto. And who got 5th? Thieves, right? I think 5th got Thieves. I think Thieves is really good. I think Thieves is incredible. I think if they fix their searches, I would say they're probably right. Like, you know, they're I would say if you're asking just off of statistics, you have to give them at least like 6. I don't think you could put them over Thieves. Because like and Thieves is probably the best hardpoint team right now in the game. Or they're up there, you know, that like them. So it's like, I don't know. Like, we beat Thieves, but Thieves, like, obviously had a tough, like, you know, I'm not sure. So, but Boston is still really good. Boston's looking really good. Boston are up. These are the top 3. Again, there's a tier of teams that can beat each other and stuff. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about. So like it's just tough. But yeah, Boston's definitely a good team for sure. Like I think they're very, very good. So you could put them at 6 for now, and obviously until further notice. Okay, so that's that match. So I'm leading right side right now. I'm thinking London and Boston. What do you think of this matchup? What do you think of this matchup, dude? What do you think? Boston were surprising me? Well, dude, I think Boston's a team that has 2 players that are like super, super motivated and hungry. You know, you have 2 players like Capsule and you have Nero that are both just like, all they want to do is make it in the league. You know what I mean? And then even like Zinni. Like Zinni's a veteran and he's been around for fucking God knows how long, dude. But like Zinni hasn't been in the league for a while. So like even Zinni has that hunger. You know what I mean? Where he's like, yo, I want to fucking stay in the league, dude. Like I feel like that hunger is like what's driving this Boston team, in my opinion. So I think that shit's really important. That's what I was saying earlier in the episode. Like that hunger is really hard to replicate, like in a fake way. So you guys are saying LAG regains, LAG regains. Dude, this is a tough match. So look, my opinion about this Florida Mutineers team is they're the biggest question mark I've seen in a while. This Florida team gets the kills. Like, you know what we were talking about with Paris? How, like, you know, they need to get kills before they can start thinking of winning. And, like, we were kind of talking about how there's levels to it. This Florida team is that level. So they're getting the kills, but they're not winning. And they're not making their kills useful on the map, etc., etc. Like, it's weird. Dude, I don't know, dude. Like, this Florida team makes no sense to me that they're like their kills, like when you're watching the minimap, they're getting these kills and like they're just not making them useful. And like the fundamentals, in a sense, I guess that's the right word for this, is just like off. That, in my opinion, as a coach, I would rather coach a team that is getting kills and has no idea what they're doing, because I think that is more fixable than a team that's not getting kills. Like, if you're just not getting kills, you can't win, period. You can't. You're not going to win. If you're getting the kills, you could win, but now you're just dumb and you're going the wrong ways. You're not making them useful. That's where coaching is actually possible, in my opinion. And like, that's where it helps a lot more. Obviously, coaching in the sense of winning more gunfights too is a thing. But like, I think this Florida team has what they need. It's just more or less, when are they gonna do it, right? So this Florida team is a scary team to play because of that reason. LAG is obviously going through a little bit of a slump, in the sense like they didn't play that well at the major. I don't know if that's gonna affect their team vibe at all. That would be like one of my like scary things with this team, is like if their team vibe goes down the drain, this can obviously hurt them. I don't think it will yet. I still think it's too early in the season for that to happen. I think this LAG team is really, really good. You know, in the sense of just like they're a good team. Like when we scrim them, they're a good hardpoint team. They know what they're doing. Like I'm watching them on the mini map. They understand it. I just think when matches happen right now, this team just like doesn't do what they like. They don't execute like their scrim plan in matches. So let's see the vetoes real quick. So if you go to Florida Mutineers, right? Florida Mutineers, they're 4-2 on Bocage, 0-2 in Gavitu, 1-2 in Tuscan, and 1-1 in Berlin, right? So 4-2 in Bocage. All right, I gotta stop doing this really quick though. I don't like going back and forth. I'm just gonna bring up another tab. 1 sec. Here we go. LAG is 2-2 in Bocage, 3-3 in Berlin, 1-1. So their favorite map is Berlin. Right, like the LAG's favorite map is Berlin. I think they have 2 losses on Berlin, where like they blew the one loss really bad to Minnesota, so they could have won that. But like that was, you know, that was more of a choke. They could be 4-2 in this, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you're LAG, there's no way you play Florida, a team that slays like crazy, and also that, like, I feel like you immediately eliminate Bocage, right? Like you immediately get rid of that map. You have to. And then if you're Florida, like you're 0-2 on Gavutu and 1-1 in Berlin. This team's 1-1 and 3-3. Like, you think they get rid of Berlin? or they get rid of Gavutu. It's like kind of you're picking your, picking your map here to get rid of. I think the favor goes in LAG for hard points because of the fact that if you get rid of Bocage, this team's obviously not like elite right now at hardpoint. They still get the kills and they can still make it work, but they're not elite at hardpoint. They're getting all these kills and not winning. So it's like Florida is better. They can slay out with the best. No, Florida can slay out with the best. That's the craziest thing. So I think if they get rid of this, I think the hard points go in like LIG's favor in the sense of statistics and like just the way they're looking. So that's pretty, that's good. Good to see. Again, I don't know anyone's scrim records and shit. So like, this is all like just very, very like, brief, not super in depth. And then 4-0 in S&D on Berlin, and they're 3-4 on Berlin. So both teams like Berlin. Whew, I don't know, dude. If you play Florida on Berlin, you're almost like, that's a risky pick in my opinion. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how these vetoes go because Florida hasn't won an S&D other than Berlin. So if like Gorillas just allow Berlin to be played, and neither have them though. Both teams haven't won an S&D other than Berlin. So like, does Berlin get played in this series? Does Berlin get played in the series? Because like no team can win an S&D clearly other than Berlin right now. Obviously, this is subject to change here. So like, one of them has to win an S&D. That's not Berlin. Someone's got to win one. So I wonder like what they're gonna do here. Like, do you think Berlin gets in the series? Like, I don't know. I feel like if you're LAG, you veto that. But if you veto that, you're also like you're not comfortable on the other maps. It looks like either. So like, I'm not too sure. And then controls 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, 3 and 2. This match is a toss-up, dude. This map's a fucking toss-up. I don't fucking know who's winning this. I would say as long as LAG has not absolutely broken down from their last 3 matches, I think they're okay. If they have broken down and their scrims have been, their scrims haven't been as productive and they're more on the decline, this could be bad. I still think this Florida team has a lot of faith in themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the Florida team right now has faith in themselves where it's like, yo, what the fuck are we doing? We're slaying everybody. We're fucking disgusting. We're getting all these kills, but we can't win. Let's fix it. Where I think this LAG team might be like, on the sense of like their standards are high and now they're like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, we're losing, and they could start losing full. I would say like Florida in the sense is like looking a little bit more belief in themselves, kind of, but I don't really know. That's a complete fucking guess. I think if LAG doesn't veto Bocage, I'd be fucking mind blown. I don't fucking know, dude. I'm saying Florida 3-2. Fuck it. I'm saying Florida 3-2. I have no idea who the fuck's going to win this match. This is an absolute toss-up. Unless one of these teams just come out stellar, we'll see. So, right now, both teams are in like a weird spot. This is a weird match to obviously just like look at the matchups and stuff. I think Florida wins this. So, those are my guesses. So, I'm thinking London, Breach, and Florida. I'm not sure. That's my guesses. That's going to be a tough match. Because, like, they're just so different. And I think this LAG team in scrims looks pretty fucking good. And they're not correlating to matches. So, it's like LAG comes out and, like, they just play how they play in scrims. They would probably win this. So, it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. So, I'm gonna give Florida the close edge here. But I don't really know who's going to win this one, to be honest. So, those are my predictions. We've been doing this for about an hour, so I'll take any like general questions and we can just have a chat about this real quick, and then after that we will call it and then probably play some WARZONE. Small question: will we see controls changes from today onwards? Control changes from today. What are you talking about, Joe Seacott? The ticks instead of kills? Wait, they changed that today? They didn't. I don't think that's getting changed for like a week or two. Or am I tripping? Control changes going to a tick system. I know that. They didn't do that yet though, right? The changes aren't in game. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, no, I don't think we're gonna see that for another week or two, dude. I don't. Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, bro. Dude, it's early. Let me rock, bro. Let me rock. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that for like a week or two, to be honest. I don't know. I like Vanguard hasn't. So Vanguard doesn't do updates like in a snap of a finger. You know what I mean? Like, they don't just, like, be like, bang, fix it. Like, it usually comes all at once, like, in waves. So I think we're just patiently waiting for the next wave. It fucking sucks, to be honest with you, because control is going to be a little bit better when this happens. So I personally think the whole fucking team deathmatch thing is super lame. So I'm patiently waiting. But yeah, I think we got like a week or two, which sucks. Who organizes scrims as far as who plays who and what maps are played during the scrim? So in the scrim, every single map is played. Sugar Shane, search and destroy is optional, and you know, you usually kind of plan that out. But the coaches have a coach call once a week where they do scrims for the week and they plan their days. You know, you get 2 scrims a day, you fill in the slots, you talk about playing who, you do this, all that, and all that stuff, and the coaches basically get all that organized. RJ or Austin on my coaching staff does that. Like, they do the coach call and stuff. Are you guys planning on GAing the rat? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm not too sure. I know the fucking rat is insane, but like, it's kind of tough for AR players to, you know, they kind of need the rat because they only have 20 bullets or 25 bullets or whatever. So it's like kind of tough to do that. I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm not a part of the GA thing, and I stay far away from all that drama for the most part because I don't really care about it. You know, I don't play. Like, I'm not doing that, but I'm not sure. I don't think so though. Please tell me you've seen our guy enables new commercial. Yeah, I saw that. We'll watch that separately and react to that because that shit is fucking hilarious. Do players choose what type of chair they sit on at LAN? Yes, they get to choose the folding chair or like the gaming chair thing. Who organizes scrims? I answered that one. If there were to be another gun that comes into rotation, like when Dashy pulled out the FFAR last season, what would your guess be? I don't know. I don't think there would be right now in another one. I think there would have to be buffs and nerfs and stuff. I know people use like the Volk every once in a while, if I'm not mistaken, but I don't think there will be, to be honest. You think there will be a change in guns this season? I don't know. Do you guys think there should be? I personally don't mind the meta. The only thing is, like, watching Gavutu sometimes is kind of like, you know? Which feels like they're just a bunch of ARs, but I don't know. Is this the best class of rookies we've had in the CDL era? Is it? Is it? I don't know. I think so. I want to say I think so. I feel like I think it is. I'm trying. I feel like it has to be, right? Because I feel like this year they're finally like teams are actually giving amateur players a chance, and like they're actually taking it and doing good. Like the MW rookies, I guess, for Shotzi and Illy. So like they were obviously, I think those are like the best rookies we've seen. You know, Abizi and Simp don't count because they weren't a part of the CDL. That was the CWL. We're talking CDL era. But Shotzi and Illy were obviously, you know, insane. And they won champs that year. But, I don't know. Wake and Mac, they were good too. Yeah, dude, it's tough. It's tough. Not sure. Still rookies. I mean, yeah, we're talking about the CDL though, but we're not talking about the CWL. I don't know. I don't know how that's cringe. Yes, the question was CDL. If you're talking about CWL, then yeah, you have a BC and Simp. All right, weren't Insight and Standy rookies at the same year too? Yeah, like, dude, we had Insight last year, we had Standy last year. I don't know. I honestly think all the players that get picked up in the CDL are pretty fucking nasty. So I'm not too sure. It's tough. The league got smaller after year 1, year 2 Insight. Yeah, that's a really hard question. What do you guys think? If someone's watching this, obviously the YouTube comments and stuff too, I'd actually like to hear. Who do you think, like, which year had the best rookies? Because obviously I think the most success so far, you can't even say this year yet because we haven't played champs this year, but Shotzi and Illy winning champs is pretty impressive. But you also had Hydra, Insight, and Standy last year. Like, that's a fucking hard question. I have no idea. All right, team question. Do you think LAG loses that they resort to making a roster change to Hook or Slasher, or do they wait it out? I don't know. I don't think they resort to a roster change just yet. But But I do know that team. The one thing that scares me with that team can be like, you know, if they start struggling, you know, Slasher and Gunless when they teamed on Rise. This is a long time ago, and this is obviously like, you know, not evident today. But they didn't get along when they teamed on Rise at the end of that like team. So like it would scare me if like their team starts doing bad and like say they disagree. That could be like, you know, something that kills the team. That's a very, very, very hypothetical and also just a flat out guess that it could be a possibility now. Like I don't know, but we'll see. It would scare me though. Afro last year as well. Yeah, Afro last year too. Yeah, shit. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. How long have you been a head coach? I was the head coach of 100 Thieves in the CWL, and then the head coach of Black Ops 4, MW, Cold War. This is my 4th year. Draza technically was a rookie in MW2. Yeah, he didn't get his shine, though. I would say he was more of a rookie in Cold War. But I know what you mean. Like, he obviously got the play, but that was such a weird situation for him. So, yeah, there's a lot of rookies, dude. That's a tough question. I actually might tweet that and just see what people have to say. Gizmo, Sib, Pred, and Cap are great rookies. Yeah, I don't know. It's fucking nuts, dude. Nero. All right, I'll take like 1 or 2 more questions. 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll end it. You have a lot of chips in 4 years. Yeah, I've been fortunate in my coaching. What's it called? My coaching career. What is the main focus for FaZe going into this major? All right, we'll do that, and then we'll do the best of 9 questions. So. The main focus for FaZe, just to answer this for FaZe fans, obviously, that ask, you know, that watch this. So, I think like for us, I was saying this before. I answered this in the beginning, but I'll answer it again. There was a part where we showed up to that major. We played well. You obviously, you always want first. You don't get first. It happens. But there were some mistakes that we were making that was a part of our plan. Like we actually, you know, wanted to do this on a certain hill, or we wanted to do this rotating to a certain hill, or search and destroy, whatever it was, and we were making mistakes and not following the game plan that we set, right? Like the way I like to coach, or the way like a lot of teams like to coach, is like you have a game plan on how to hold, how to rotate to, how to break, how to do anything. Like you have a philosophy how to play the game, and we were making mistakes where we weren't following that philosophy. And when it comes to mistakes like that just comes from practicing it more, getting it more ingrained in your fucking head of like, yo, we are going to do this and play this perfectly every single time and not make those mistakes when it matters. So like we weren't executing our game plan sometimes. And when you do that against top teams, you're going to lose maps, right? Like we talked about that. So there was some stuff that we just have to keep practicing and get more consistent. Personally, I believe that a lot of those issues to the game plan not being followed comes from communication and teamwork. And communication and teamwork go hand in hand, but communication stems to the teamwork. Like, you know, that makes the teamwork happen. So I think we have to work on clearer comms and having, you know, more precise, like, you know, tells to each other of like what we need to do. So like, I think that's obviously step 1 to get better practice and make sure we're working on that over and over again and be more consistent. But then there was a few hills and a few things in control and a few things in search where our philosophy wasn't perfect yet. Again, it's major 1. We have a long season ahead of us. So like our philosophy wasn't perfect in major 1 last year either. We ended up winning it, but like, still, there was a lot of things that we improved from last year from major 1 to obviously the final major 2. So it's more or less like figuring out what's the best way to approach some of this stuff for our specific team. So I would say our main focus is to get communication and all that stuff, like I was saying before, and then fix a few of the things, like in the sense of like the philosophy of how to play this hard point, or how to break this hard point, or how to hold this hard point on certain maps, and so on and so forth. So we want to make some minor changes here and there to get better at certain things and certain maps and close out maps. And then we obviously want to also make sure we're working on the important stuff of making sure our teamwork is always getting better, and so on and so forth. So that's like probably what we want to, that would be like the main focuses for me, is that's what I would say. I hope that answers your question. And then the best of 9 finals, I already talked about this in another episode. I'll keep this brief, but what's it called? I think the best of 9 finals, I personally like the best of 9 finals. I think it shows who has a better map pool. Like, for example, if the best of 9 finals didn't exist, we never would have watched that 0-4 comeback reverse sweep, the crazy thing with Minnesota and Toronto last year. I think having that deeper map pool shows you who's a better team overall and I think it's really cool. So I do like the best of 9. The only thing I don't like about the best of 9, and I've said this since my team was in winners, I've said this since my team was in losers, I said this literally to Rambo before the fucking finals, like we made a joke about it, and I said this to you guys, we should have been down 0-1 in that final. Just like we were down 0-1 in MW, we should have been down 0-1 in that final. That we had no business playing a fair final against Optic, for you know what I'm saying, for that reason. Just like no team had any business playing a fair final against us last year. You know what I'm saying? Like when we came from winners. If you make the finals through winners, you should get a 1-0 lead. That's not asking a lot. That's not confusing. You still have to win 4 more maps, so you still have to win a bunch of maps, and the other team has to win 5, and that should be how it is. I don't think the vetoes are enough in my opinion, especially in this game. What, Optic got the veto 1 map? It was Bocage. Like, I don't know, you know, come champs time, getting the veto 1 map. Say we don't get any maps in the pool. Come champs time, you make the finals, you're in a best of 9, you get the veto 1 map. Around that time, most teams that are going to make that final are going to be fucking good at every map anyway. You know what I mean? Like, most of the time, like, champs finals, most teams are probably going to have all 9 maps pretty good for them. You know, they're going to be complete teams. So, like, I don't think the vetoes are enough. And the argument saying that it's confusing for casuals of like, why are they up 1-0? I feel like that's pretty much common sense. Like, I really don't think anyone is getting confused at that. I think that is such a bad argument to it. So I personally think the best of 9 is actually better. I like seeing like who's the more complete team and who's actually going to win 5 maps or 4 maps if you're coming from that. But I definitely think the winners absolutely need a 1-0. I've been saying this for fucking 2 years. So I'll keep saying it. I don't know. Like, me and Rambo made a joke about it. You know, he's like, all right, well, veto Bocage sounds good. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. You guys deserve to be up 1-0. This is kind of silly. Like, it's just, I don't think it's enough, personally. So, I don't know. That's how I view it. That's how I've always viewed it. But we'll wrap it up there. Well, you know, we got an hour and 11 minutes in. Honestly, we just talked a lot. I thought this was going to be a shorter episode.